Why Exodus 28 matters more than most realize. Exodus 28. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. God doesn't say consider the Sabbath. He says remember, because humanity forgets. The Sabbath was not created at Sinai. It was established at creation. In Genesis 2, God rested on the seventh day, blessed it, and sanctified it, meaning he set time apart before sin, before Israel, before religion. So the Sabbath is not a Jewish invention. It's part of God's design for humanity. The Sabbath is a sign, not a burden. God later said, it is a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am the Lord who sanctifies you. Exodus 31:13. A sign identifies who you belong to. The Sabbath declares, God is my creator. God is my creator. God is my deliverer. God, not the world, rules my time. That's why the Sabbath is always contested. Time reveals authority. The Sabbath teaches redemption. God connects the Sabbath to freedom. Remember that you were a slave in Egypt. Therefore the Lord commanded you to keep the Sabbath. Deuteronomy 5:15. The Sabbath reminds God's people, you are no longer slaves. You are redeemed. You live under a different kingdom. Friend, the Sabbath is the first appointment in God's calendar. In Leviticus 23, God lays out his appointed times, his redemption plan. Before Passover, before Pentecost, before trumpets, atonement, and tabernacles, God lists the seventh day Sabbath first. Why? Because the entire plan of redemption is moving toward rest, peace, and God dwelling with man. The Sabbath points to the coming kingdom. Rest scripture teaches that God's plan ends in rest. Hebrews says there remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God. Hebrews 4:9. The weekly Sabbath is a shadow, a rehearsal of the peace and restoration that comes when Messiah reigns and God's kingdom is fully established on earth. God's goal is not endless labor. God's goal is restored order under his rule. And what about the eighth day? After the 7-day cycle of tabernacles, God commands an eighth day assembly. Leviticus 23:36. 7 represents completion and rest. 8 points beyond new beginnings and fullness. Even God's calendar quietly tells the story. Creation, redemption, kingdom rest, full restoration. Final thought. The Sabbath isn't about legalism. It's about remembering who God is, who we are, and where history is headed. If the Sabbath points to creation, redemption, and the coming kingdom of peace, why would God's people treat it as irrelevant?